Welcome back. This is the South African Morning. Now, for South Africans, of course, to beat the COVID-19 pandemic, people need to vaccinate and ventilate. This is according to scientists affiliated to the GREENFLAG Association, and they're calling on owners and managers of public spaces, as well as others, to prevent super spreader events. But for more on this, medical scientist GARTH joins us from Hillcrest. Garth, good morning to you. Now, the two V's, they being important, vaccinate and ventilate, but you are making a public service announcement to all public, event owners, promoters, to actually comply with COVID-19 protocols, because you're saying if they don't, those can be super spreader events.
Absolutely. I think there's any space where we have the opportunity for actually air to build up, and that's any indoor space, can actually lead to a super spreader event.
And with that being said, are we seeing more of the variant, according to your data, showing that, it's been spreading in these spaces? Because for the longest time, we've seen artists, entertainers, public, property owners saying that the blame is shifted more on them and not on the individuals coming into their spaces, that they are basically spreading this virus.
Basically, with the changing variants, we're going to continue to see different changing variants. And we've got the Delta variant, and that we know that that's more contagious than actually earlier versions, actually doubly so. What it really means is that we need to just up our game. We're going to have to put tighter controls in place, and that really is both then the people who go into the spaces, as well as then the people who own the spaces. And perhaps just a little bit of explanation on them, how indoor spaces is so dangerous, in inverted commas, is that when you have a large concentration enough of this virus to build up, and you spend enough time in that space, and you do things like talking, then you have an opportunity for a super spreader event to happen. And that's even in your vehicle. And
right.
Of particular concern are then actually your public transport, and of course private transport as well.
Yeah. So what's your advice then, Garth, just in terms of making indoor spaces a lot more safer, as safe as possible?
Ventilate, ventilate, ventilate. It's a single way we understand that this virus, the most important way that this virus has been spread. Of course, the other controls are also important, but just to give an indication, let's say you have a vehicle, and what the World Health Organization says, you need 10 liters for every second for every person in that vehicle. So if you have 10 people in that vehicle, you need 100 liters of fresh outside air to move through that vehicle every second. Actually, if you have 20 people in that vehicle, you need 200 liters every second. That's a huge amount of air to move through the vehicle in order to make that vehicle safe.
Garth, you represent the GREENFLAG Association. You've been doing all you can, putting in efforts to raise awareness around ventilation. How is that awareness going? Is there enough sufficient information to ensure that South Africans are, aware of the importance of ventilation? Do you think lots more still needs to be done?
Every time you go into a shop or you go into a small confined space, you look at the vehicles. Just have a look today and see then how many actually have open windows. And you know then that when you see a vehicle with, let's say, a public transport vehicle with closed windows, that not enough is actually being done. And just from our understanding is that most spaces you go into, and when it gets cold, people close the windows, meaning they don't really understand actually, there's not adequate understanding of the importance of ventilation. So we're at the very early stage of understanding. Of course, we've got massive amounts of cases, so we're carrying risk at the moment as South Africans.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this conversation will do more in raising that awareness. Thank you for speaking to me, Garth from the GREENFLAG Association.
Yeah, keep the windows open, especially if you're in public transport. I know it can be cold early in the morning. Even if you just crack the window just a little bit to try and keep that air flow.